Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and in this video I wanted to do a short video for you guys talking about the Sram Etap component group. I did a quick not really review, but a quick first look on my new Pinarello Dogma a little bit ago on the channel. Told you guys I'd tell you a little bit more about the Sram Etap system, so I want to do that this morning. Basically just want to go over a couple of things on it, because there's some, if you read, basically I've done a lot of reviews on the Sram Etap system, or I've read a lot of reviews on it, and basically there's a lot of differences of opinion on the group. I do now have about 1,000 miles of experience with the Sram Etap system. Got just around 1,000 miles now on my bike, so I feel like I'm in a position where I can talk a little bit about it, how it's performed for me so far. Now, first of all, I want to talk about the ergonomics and the feel of the group. The hoods, in my opinion, feel very good. I have small hands. I'm a relatively small person, but the hoods feel really good in the hands. So ergonomically, the hoods are really good, and the shifting, the shifting pattern of Sram Etap. For anybody who's not familiar, basically how Sram Etap works is on your left paddle, which would traditionally operate your big ring up and down. What that does is that basically the left paddle makes shifts into easier gears on the rear cog, and your right paddle makes the gears harder on the rear cog, like you would traditionally expect, like with Shimano, or I think Campy's probably the same way. But anyways, on Etap it's different. So your paddles individually, nothing controls the front derailleur, and the only way you can make a front derailleur adjustment is by basically pressing both your left and your right shift paddle, pressing them both at the same time. That's going to give you a big ring shift, and if you're in the small ring, you go to the big ring. If you're in the big ring, you go to the small ring. And so, coming from running mostly Shimano over the years, it certainly is a little bit different, okay? But, once you get the hang of it, I find it to be very intuitive, and I really like the way the shifting is set up with the Etap. Like I said, mentally it just takes a little bit of adjustment, because like I spent most of my riding career on Shimano, so I'm just mentally used to the to that system. But now after about 1,000 miles here on the Dogma, I'm really starting to get a natural feel for the shifting pattern of the Etap, and I find it very intuitive, and I actually like it. So the shifting pattern and the ergonomics of the group are really good. I've got no complaints. And as far as shifting performance, so far I've had 0 missed shifts. And I've done all kinds of different shifting. I've shifted under load. I've actually almost tried to get the Sram Etap system to make a bad shift, but so far I have not had a bad shift with the system. I haven't had a drop chain. Nothing to that effect. So shifting performance has been really good. The big ring, the big ring shifting, the front derailleur shifting, has been probably as good as I've ever experienced. Now, Shimano Di2 is good stuff. I've got Ultegra Di2 on my Cervelo R3. I like it. I'm not going to say it's a bad system. I like it. Now, is it better than Etap, or is Etap better? I don't know, guys. Flip a coin. I think Etap is equally as good in my opinion. Now I can't compare it to Dura Ace Di2 because I've never ridden Dura Ace Di2, but I have got 0 complaints with Etap so far. Shifting has been really good. Shifting under load is good. Like I said, no drop chains. Now, one thing I've heard on a couple of different reviews on Etap is I've heard that they say that some people think that the shifting, that basically the rear derailleur shifting is a tad slow. That's what I've heard. Putting that in practice on the road and actually like thinking about this while I'm shifting, I would honestly struggle to describe the shifting as a tad slow. I mean, is it, is it, 0.2 seconds slower than Di2? I don't know. I mean, I don't hold a stopwatch when I'm shifting my gears. But all I can say is after 1,000 miles of riding it, I don't find the rear shifting to be slow. In fact, I find it to be very precise. I have yet to have to adjust the rear derailleur after 1,000 miles. Every shift has been absolutely 100% perfect. And I cannot say that with my Ultegra Di2 system. I mean, it's good, don't get me wrong. It does work well, but I have had to make the occasional adjustment, the occasional micro adjustment, to the electronic micro adjustments to my rear shifting on the Di2 setup. I've yet to have to do that with the Etap. The rear shifting is literally picture perfect every time. So far it has been. So, and honestly, I would take my shifting, a millisecond slower to work perfectly all the time. So, and you can shift through the gears really quickly. Basically, the way Etap works is, you can hold down, your right lever and go up and down the cogs, but and it does go, and it goes very smoothly. I think that end it's a little bit slower than Di2 when you do the continuous paddle hold. Seems to be maybe a little bit slower than the Di2, but I don't really do it that way. I find the shifting, the shift paddles are just so intuitive and so precise. I just basically manually, keep shifting through the gears, really quickly, and you hear an audible click. With the Etap, you hear a real audible click every time you make a shift, so audibly, hey, I've just made 3 shifts, and you can shift through the gears very quickly doing it that way. And that's the way I like to do it, which gives me another point there on the ergonomics, is the fact that, I like how Sram, I've always liked how Sram, has that very audible, click sound basically when you make a shift change. You've made the shift change because you can hear it. So all things said so far, guys, like I said, I really like the SRAM Etap system. It's worked perfectly for me so far. Ergonomically, I think it's good. Like I said, the brake performance, the brake lever performance has been good. I like the shift pattern. Once you get mentally used to it, takes a little bit of adjustment mentally to get used to the fact that you're, pushing in both shift paddles to make a front derailleur change. But once you kind of get onto that, get on top of that mentally, it's a really good system. So far, it's been durable. Now, battery life is less than what it is on Di2. There's no debate there. It is less, but with that being said, the battery life is still more than enough on Etap. In fact, one thing I like about Etap over the Di2, even though the battery charges don't last as long, it's a hell of a lot quicker to actually charge up your batteries. I've actually had to have my Di2 system charging for like 4 or 5 hours at times, before, if it's been really low. Whereas the Di2 or the Etap system, basically it's just 2 battery packs. There's a battery pack on your front derailleur and a battery pack on your rear derailleur, and you can interchange those. Like, I don't do a ton of front derailleur shifting when I'm riding, so basically that battery pack is kind of always more charged up than the rear one. And after 4, 5, 6 rides, you can do a battery pack swap, and now you're kind of right back to square one because you've taken your battery pack off the front derailleur and put it on the back, and vice versa. So it's so you can interchange the batteries, which is nice. But the batteries will completely charge from like empty in like 45 minutes to an hour tops, which is really cool because you can, after a long week of riding, you can throw them on the battery pack, and literally within an hour and a half, you've got your both batteries charged right back up. Now, the front shift paddles do have a battery in there. It's one of those, watch batteries, the circular watch batteries that's in the shifters. But from what I've heard and from what I've seen online, is that those will last like a couple of riding seasons. That you shouldn't have to change those really only but once every couple of years. So I've obviously can't comment on the battery life there because I've only had the bike for I've only got 1,000 miles on the bike, and obviously those those batteries and the shifters are still working perfectly. So I can't comment on the battery life on the front shifters and the little watch batteries, but from what I'm hearing, they'll last up to at least a couple of years. So we'll see how that goes. But so far so good, guys, on the Etap. I like it. Shifting performance has been really good. Ergonomically, I think it's sound. Durability so far, it's been very durable. No complaints. Haven't had any battery packs fall off or nothing. So really have nothing negative to say about the system at all. I like it. I really like the Etap system. In fact, as you guys know, I've been kind of thinking about maybe changing over my TCR components from mechanical Ultegra. I was thinking about going to Dura HDI2, but I tell you what, after my first 1,000 miles on Sram Etap, I'm considering, if I do an upgrade to the TCR, I'm considering doing the upgrade to Etap. I like it that much. So just wanted to give you guys a quick video here with my kind of initial impressions, first, initial review, so to speak, on Etap. It's a good system. I recommend it. Hope you guys found this video informative. I appreciate all the support on the channel, and I look forward to seeing you guys right back here in my next video.